today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the DC Collectibles, DC Comics, Icons, figure number 11, Aquaman. Aquaman comes included with a trident, comes with 2 pairs of extra hands, and also comes with a rather interesting interchangeable head, which also seems to have a summoning call for him to communicate with the fish. A rather interesting inclusion, something that I would never have expected to find with an Aquaman figure. Down below we have the icons. Below that, a choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3 years of age. This side of the package features number 11, being the figure being number 11 in the series. Then on the back, the other figures from this next wave of icons. We have Superman, Aquaman, Atomica, I think her name was Atomica, and Harley Quinn. Designed by Ivan Rice, sculpted by Joe Mena. And then finally, on the underside, you can go to www.dccomics.com. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're getting a better look at the DC Comics Icons, figure number 11, Aquaman. There's more. Anyway, guys, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Aquaman comes with a fair share of accessories, so let's jump right to the figure first, and then we'll kind of look at the accessories afterwards. The figure is good because it's giving us a classic look of Aquaman, nothing with a hook, no updates really to that extent. Instead, we get a very tried and true fallback to his classic design in the orange scaled top and the green pants or green bottoms, as well as the green gloves. I like that the gloves and the pants are more of a shinier look to them. I imagine this giving it just more of a wet look for Aquaman here. The scaling is very nice. I seem to gravitate towards Aquaman figures just because I guess because I love orange, and just the green and the orange together seem to work very well for this character. The face is good. Sculpt-wise isn't bad. Some of the figures here from the Icons line some of them are okay, some of them are questionable for head sculpts. Aquaman is not bad. One thing I've noticed though with the head sculpt, or at least the head itself, is that it seems like the head wants to lean forward. I've tried my best to kind of correct it, but it sits awkwardly, and I guess because the neck seems to want to, it appears more like it's on an angle. From the side, it maybe doesn't look as bad, but from the front, it looks like the head is kind of leaning forward. If perhaps this isn't your preferred look for Aquaman, you can go ahead and pop the head off the ball joint. And you can also switch it out for this head. Now, before you jump out of your seats and say, hold on a second, I really like that head sculpt. Well, truthfully, it's really not that much different than the other one. As you can see right here, it's pretty much the exact same head. Where the difference lies, though, is this big, noticeable hole in Aquaman's head. Clearly something that they couldn't just give you this as the primary head without you noticing a big hole in the top of his forehead. Well, that's because he also comes with this as well, which is a little little clear funnel that can attach to that hole. It's a little on the difficult side to kind of get it in there, because along the way, while you're trying to put it into his head, it wants to bend. Not the one thing that you want it to do, but it does bend a little bit because it's such a thin piece of plastic at the very tip that's going to be going into the head. Now, it looks a little on the jarring side, keeping in mind, of course, Aquaman's communicating with the fish, that I get what they were trying to go with, but of all the accessories that you could have included with Aquaman, I can't see myself ever displaying Aquaman with a big protruding cone sticking out of his head. It just looks a little off to me. But at any rate, it's appreciated that they included it. I don't know if I just would ever display him with that. And this is what I'm talking about. Like the very end here, it's clear plastic for starters, and putting it into his forehead, you can see how it's already warping it. And I don't know if eventually how long that's going to last. That if this was perhaps the figure head that you want to go with, I would just outright glue it. Just glue that right in there and keep it permanently in place. Still though, it's appreciated that they would have included it. I'm just not probably going to ever display him with it. So we'll go ahead and pop the normal head back into place. For his other accessories, he comes included with a trident. The trident itself feels very secure, although the ends are very thin plastic. So again, be very careful. Don't do what I'm just doing right now, because you know what's going to happen. But it's nice that at least he comes with a trident, and one of the better tridents as well to come included with Aquaman. He doesn't currently have the option to display with holding the trident, but that's okay because he also has a pair of extra hands as well. Of all the hands, let's see if I can get him to stand here for a second. Of all the hands that he comes included with, he doesn't really come with just like a flat hand, something that you would almost see with Superman, because if I was to ever display Aquaman like this, I would almost have him holding the trident with one hand and want to have a flat hand as if he is actually floating in water or swimming in water. He has a couple of variations of open hands, but they're too big to hold the trident. There's no way to hold the trident that way. But he does have a couple of other closed hands, or partially closed hands, suitable for the job. So you go ahead and just pop the hand off very easily. Find the hand that you want to switch it out to, pop that into place, and then go ahead and slide the trident right down into that chasm, the little hole area of his hand. And it sits, I must say, at least very securely. But I really don't understand why these extra hands were included. You could kind of simulate that he's swimming using these hands, but it almost comes across more so like the hands were intended to hold something else that they decided not at the last minute to include. But it's a great look to have him with the trident in hand. I mean, again, that's how I'm probably going to be displaying the figures. Forever opinions you might have the fact that the icons are a little bit smaller in scale. They are nicely detailed figures, I'll give it that. They are also very posable as well. The heads on the figures themselves are ball jointed. Lots of motion and movement there. Hinged shoulders, full rotation there as well. Rotation on the bicep. A double hinged elbow, a rotation and hinge in the hands, an upper torso ball joint, which is really stiff on this figure, as well as a crunch on the lower mid-torso stomach area. Legs split out very easily, as well as forward and back motion, a double hinged knee, and finally not only a pivot on the foot, but as you can see as well, the feet rock back and forth. For the fact that the figures they are smaller, that's one thing. They may not necessarily fit in with all the other DC collectible figures that you might be collecting. These will appear smaller in size. For that, I wish they had traded out the lack of size, maybe with a display stand, and in Aquaman's case, maybe a couple of other accessories. I appreciate this, but to be honest, I would never ever display him with the cone sticking out of his head. That's just me. Still, though, not a bad figure. Still have to get my hands on Superman. At the time of this review, I have not picked up Superman. But not bad figures all in all. You overlook the fact that they are, yes, a little bit smaller in size. The Icons lines actually are pretty good for detail and everything else. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the DC Collectibles, DC Icons. This was Aquaman. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more Toy Spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.